Okay, so 4 pi over 3 is the same as what in degrees? What is 4 pi over 3 in degrees?
240.
Okay, so when you find that on the unit circle, 240 degrees, the coordinate is -1/2 -√3 over 2. All right, so do we agree with that part?
Yes.
The first number in the unit, in the order pair, is cosine, and the second number is sine. So we already have 2 of the 6. So the cosine of 4 pi over 3 is -1/2. And the sine of 4 pi over 3 is -√3 over 2. So that's the first 2. So now let's go to secant and cosecant. So to find secant is the reciprocal of sine. So to find the secant, you need to take the reciprocal of -1/2. And what is the reciprocal of -1/2? -2 over 1 or -2. So these two are sisters. There, you just flip them. Cosine and secant, you flip them. So now let's find the cosecant. So cosecant of 4 pi over 3, you need to flip sine. And when you flip sine, you get -2 over √3. But we have a red flag. And what is the red flag? Square root in your denominator. So how do I get rid of the square root in my denominator? We multiply it. So that would be a -2 square root of 3. And that's the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 equals the square root of 9. And the square root of 9 is 3. These two are also sisters. So these two are sisters. Now the last two are tangent and cotangent. Those are the quotient. Those are my quotient identities. So to find tangent, tangent equals sine divided by cosine. That's how you find tangent. That's the definition of tangent. Tangent is sine divided by cosine or y divided by x. So I'm going to take my sine, which for sine is -√3 over 2. And I'm dividing that by cosine, which is -1/2. So how do you divide fractions? You do keep, change, flip. Good. So we're going to keep this first one. Change this to multiplication. And then flip it. And what's going to happen with our 2's? They cancel. Now, when you multiply two numbers that are negative, multiply or divide two numbers that are negative, what kind of a number do you get?
Positive.
A positive. So your tangent and cotangent will be positive. In this quadrant, tangent and cotangent are positive. So my final answer is going to be the square root of 3, and it's positive. It's not negative. A negative divided by a negative is positive. And then the last one is cotangent. Cotangent of 4 pi over 3 is equal to cosine divided by sine, which is x divided by y. So I'm just swapping these positions of these two. So that's going to give me -1/2 divided by -√3 over 2. which is -1/2 times 2 over √3, -2 over √3. Your 2's cancel, but then that gives me 1 over the square root of 3, which is a red light again. We can't have that. So we're multiplying top and bottom by the square root of 3. And that's going to give me a positive √3 over 3. So these are my 6 answers. And this is an example of a question that will be on your quiz next week. So I'm going to give you an angle on the unit circle. And you will have to give me all 6 of the trig ratios.
Just next Wednesday.
All right, any questions? Yes.
So for both tan and, is it cot?
Cotangent and tangent.
Okay. Did both of the negatives cancel out the 2's?
Right. So why did that happen? Because I'm dividing two numbers that are negative. And when you divide two numbers that are negative, you get what kind of a number? A positive. So tangent and cotangent in quadrant 3 are positive. Any other questions? Okay, so what we're going to do now is look at some practice questions. The majority of your quiz is going to look like this. You will have a couple of questions where I will ask you for all 6 for one angle, but for the majority of them, you're going to have one of the 6 ratios for one of the angles on the unit circle. So I'm going to give you a minute to copy down these 5, and then we'll talk about them together. So you're going to give me the answer, the value.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to keep out your unit circle, but I'll give you a minute to copy them down, and then we'll work through them together. Okay, so let's look at the first one, cosine of pi over 3. So pi over 3 is 60 degrees. And what is the cosine? The cosine, remember on the unit circle, you have your ordered pairs. That first number is cosine. The second number in the ordered pair is your sine. The x value is cosine. The y value is sine. So I want you to find pi over 3 on your unit circle. And what is the x value? What is the x value? 1/2. That's your answer. So the cosine of a 60-degree angle, or the cosine of pi over 3, is equal to 1/2. All right, tangent, though, you have to take the sine of 120. Divide that by cosine of 120. So let's look at our unit circle. Find 120 degrees. So the sine is positive √3/2. And you're dividing that by the cosine, which is -1/2. Go ahead and do your keep, change, flip to find the tangent.
Wait, so on the quiz, do we have to fill out the circle and we use the circle for our quiz?
Right. So if you don't know the unit circle by the time of the quiz, what does that mean? Yeah, every question wrong. Exactly. So that's why it is very important that we know the unit circle.
Is that the same for the other chart?
What other
These are
chart?
now for the, sorry.
Yeah, you have to know that too. You don't get anything. You get nothing. Like, you have to know that tangent is sine divided by cosine. And you have to know that cotangent is cosine divided by sine. You have to know that cosine is x and sine is y. You have to know these things. Yes. So when we do our keep, change, flip, we get √3/2 times, then we're multiplying that by -2/1. So what's going to happen is our 2's are going to cancel. But when you divide a positive by a negative, our answer is going to still be. So the tangent of 120 is negative. So you still get, -√3. All right, cosecant. Who is the sister to cosecant? Sine. So I want you to find the sine, because this is actually equal to, you're going to take 1 over, oops, wrong thing. So you're taking 1 over the sine of 3 pi over 4, which means you're taking the reciprocal. Cosecant is 1 over the sine. So the sine of 3 pi over 4 is what? √2/2. So that's the sine. So the sine is √2/2, but we're looking for the cosecant. So we have to flip this, and it becomes 2 over √2. I keep saying I'm going to get an Apple Pen, but I'm not. I'm just not going to do it.
Oh, you still have the broken one from last semester.
No, I got a new one, but it's still not that great. All right, so this one here, so we have to flip it. We have to flip this answer to get to cosecant. But when we flip this one, we have a red light that we have to address. The red light is that we have a square root in our denominator. So we're going to multiply this top and bottom by the square root of 2, which gives you 2√2 over the square root of 4, and the square root of 4 is 2. What's going to happen with those 2's? Not the 2 underneath the square root, but the 2 in the front and the 2 in the bottom. They're going to cancel because 2 divided by 2 is 1, and you're left with √2.
The one is now the denominator.
Why did
I didn't even laugh. Why are you all I promise I'm not laughing.
Divided by 1 is just root 2. Because 2 divided by 2 is 1.
How Carmen just reacted like.
Because root two is already there.
Are you talking about this part right here?
Oh, good thing you looked
Oh.
at me.
Like top and bottom.
Because we can't have a square root in our denominator.
And what's the square root for?
So we take, yes. So we take,
2, yeah.
okay. I'll let Carmen explain. Would you all quit laughing? We are a family. We are a family, and you all are laughing.
No, the way that Carmen reacted.
Square root of 2.
Oh, I didn't see the
And
reaction.
then the square root of 4, which is just 2. And then 2 is cancelled, which equals 1. So it's square root of 2 over 1.
Can I just let the record reflect that I did not laugh? I was seriously about to answer the question. Everybody started laughing, but I was, for real. I didn't.
Carmen
That was
were
them.
asleep, and then her reaction, her immediate reaction. Your
We're still
immediate
friends.
reaction. You were over there just half asleep.
I was asleep.
But do you understand now, though?
Yeah.
Seriously. Okay. All right. All right. So we have a negative 225, which we need to find the coterminal angle, which you don't have to, but whenever I have a negative, I like to add 2 pi to it so we can actually find it on the unit circle. Because remember, our unit circle is not negatives, it's positive. So I'm going to add 360 so I can figure out what is negative 225 as a positive angle. So when we do that, we're going to take 360 minus 225. Go ahead and do that. See what you get.
Oh, 35.
And so we have to borrow from the 6, which becomes a 5, and this is a 10. So 10 minus 5 is 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. So we're looking at 135 degrees on the unit circle. So on the unit circle, negative 225 is the same as positive 135. So we need to find the cotangent of 135. So who remembers? How do you find? Raise your hand. Don't just yell it out. Who can tell me how you find the cotangent? How do you find cotangent of 135? Gavin? Cosine divided by sine. So we need to take the cosine of 135 and divide that by the sine of 135. So find 135 on your unit circle, and we get that cosine is negative root 2 over 2, and we're dividing that by a positive root 2 over 2. Now, if you would like to do keep, change, flip at this point, you can do that. However, I'm going to use a little bit of my math fact knowledge here. What do I know? What do you think I'm going to get here without even doing keep, change, flip? I'm dividing the same numbers. 1, except it's not going to be positive. It's going to be what? Negative. So you can totally go through the whole keep, change, flip scenario. But I'm using some of my math facts here. And I know that if I divide two numbers that are the same, like 5 divided by 5, or 8 divided by 8, or negative root 2 over 2 divided by positive root 2 over 2, without doing the keep, change, flip, I know that my answer is going to be negative 1. Now, if you can't reach that conclusion and you want to do keep, change, flip, by all means do that. You do that. You will not get marked off for that. Okay, next one. So I have another negative angle that I need to add 2 pi. So it's negative 2 pi over 3. And I'm going to add 2 pi. So when I add 2 pi, how am I going to do that? How do I write 2 pi as a fraction over 3? 6 pi over 3.
Wait, I have a question. Why are you adding 2 pi
I'm adding 360 degrees, which is 2 pi. So, that gives me what? What is negative 2 pi over 3 plus 6 pi over 3? Yep, secant of 4 pi over 3. That's 2 pi. So, you see here in degrees how I added 360? But this was in degrees, so that's why I added 360. But this is in radians, so I have to add it as a radian. So we're looking for 4 pi over 3 on your unit circle. And who is secant? Who is the sister to secant? Cosine. Yeah. So I know that I'm really looking for the cosine on the unit circle. I'm going to take the cosine of 4 pi over 3. And I'm going to flip that. So the cosine of 4 pi over 3 is what? Negative 1/2, but I need to find the secant. And to find the secant, then I'm going to flip this. I have to flip this fraction because it's the reciprocal. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So what's the reciprocal of negative 1/2? Negative 2. All right, so let me zoom out. And you have answered. This is your quiz, essentially. We're going to practice more of these tomorrow.